For 9 episodes, you've watched me explain one of the hardest seasons in my life. And in this episode, you get to meet a person who kept showing up for whatever reason that I didn't understand at the time, and was there for a new chapter and a new year of my life that I had no idea what was going to happen. And today, you get to meet this character for the first time. And what's a little bit weird about it is I'm kind of meeting them for the first time as well. I don't know their favorite restaurant, their favorite color, what they were like as a kid, or anything of that nature. All I know is that a year ago, during a journey that I was on and nobody knew the history behind, this person showed up and has stuck with me the entire time. So, welcome in episode 10, my new friend, Alyssa. Welcome to episode 10 of The Girl in Ashes. This episode, we are going to meet a new character, Unleashed. I know most of you probably thought it was a dude. Calm down. I'm so sorry. I'm still in hunt for one, so don't get it twisted. But that's not who we have today. We have someone who has been around for a hot minute. You don't know her. I can tell you that. And I barely know her, but here we are. This is Alyssa. Hi. All right, so we're going to do a sort of an interview and get to know each other as much as possible in front of the world. Because what else would we do if we were healing to the public? My first question is, who was Alyssa before Bomb Party?
Oh, wow. Before I found Bomb Party, I was a mother, a worker, and that's all I was. I went home, went to work, went home, went to work, took care of the kids, and that was my whole life. I had my children and my boyfriend. Literally was no Alyssa. I was mom, I was caretaker, I was lead at work. I have no identity of my own.
Interesting. And if we recap a little bit of episode 9, I was also searching for something more. Sitting in a home full of silence, in an area with no real support, and in a new company adventure where I was going live consistently and doing my own personal therapy. So, tell us a little bit about your childhood. You can give a generic roundabout, some examples.
My childhood was kind of messy. I bounced around from parents to grandparents to parents, kind of like trying to build stability, but lacking in some true form of like who I am, who I'm supposed to be, just because of the different types of households that I was in. My childhood was, I would say, good. I had people who loved me, who cared for me, but it was just kind of confusing, to say the least.
Ooh, see, that can tie into a lot of things. We're going to get there together. What were you passionate about outside of work and Bomb Party once you started? Like, let's say we take Bomb Party out of the equation, we take your work out of the equation. What would you be passionate about?
I had my first child 6 years ago. And before that, I was kind of a crazy party girl. I spent more time out of my house because I never wanted to be home. Otherwise, I'd be alone. I never liked being alone. I didn't really have any true hobbies. And then after becoming a mom, I just dedicated myself to that. Like, I love being a mom. And so that was kind of like what I felt was a hobby. But then after so many years, I just felt like I was losing myself.
I would say motherhood is a passion of hers. Maybe she just don't recognize it. What would surprise me about you? Just one thing like jumps out.
Surprise you?
Yeah, what would surprise me about you?
I think it was like one of the hardest questions to answer.
I would never be surprised.
No, because I feel like you're so open and free. Like, you have like this broad spectrum mind. Like, nothing surprises you because you're just like open to anything.
True. We've learned a little bit about Alyssa, just a little brief synopsis. We're gonna dive into what this is about, how we met. So, do you remember the first time you watched my first live? The first time you walked into one of my lives? Do you remember it at all?
Yes. It's funny because when I first started watching Bomb Party, it was interesting to me. It was about the jewelry, and it was about the excitement and the surprise. Only later did I realize it was more about the people and the community. The first time I was in one of your lives, it had solely to do with the jewelry.
Ooh, see, she didn't even care about me.
No, I literally was like, I hopped in her live, I listened to her speak for about 10 minutes, and I was like, okay, this girl's cool. And her name was Punk Bling, so I'm like, let me see what this punk is about. But I listened to her for a few minutes. I went into your inventory, and I was like, she's got collections that I have never seen before. So that's what really drew me in. And she had some Lucky Lass. I was super excited about it. Mm-hmm. And then it was like after I got my first package from you, and then I was like, you know what? I like this girl. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what it says. What was your first impression of me? And you have to be honest.
I think it was because she was different.
Ooh.
Like, the whole punk bling, I was like, okay, let me see what this punk is about. And then it was like, okay, her personality. Between all of the other reps that I watched, Robin let her personality show right off the bat more than anybody else. She wasn't just about jewelry, reveal after reveal. She was about, oh, okay, I'm going to add something to this. You know what I mean? And she had her own commentary for everything.
True. What would you say kept bringing you back?
That commentary.
The story time. That's what they call it, story
yes.
time. How long did you think it took you to transition from, okay, this is a fizzer I like to purchase from, to, I think we could be friends?
I would say 3 lives.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Like
so
3 lives.
We're talking like 3 hours in a whole lifetime. Have I, oh, this is a loaded question because we've been hanging out for a couple days. Have I ever surprised you?
Absolutely. Day one. Literally. Showed up and she was like, hey, we're going to hang out and do this. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go get supper and have like an intimate one-on-one conversation. I was like, all right, let's let that happen. And
she learned
a lot came out.
She learned a lot. Have you ever been disappointed in me since you've learned more about me?
No. I would say even as shocking or as surprising the information was, it only made me love you more because it was like so real compared to what you would see on a live.
But what made you trust someone that you've never actually met in person?
She kept coming back.
I didn't let her go.
Even after she knew who I was and after who she saw me being, she kept coming back.
Mm-hmm. I love her. Y'all should watch her sometimes. If you watch Bomb Party, check her out. If you were to describe, okay, interesting. If you were to describe me to someone else, what would you say?
I feel like whatever we use to describe Bomb Party, surprise and delight.
Oh!
Like, that's literally Robin.
Surprise and delight. I love it.
You never know what you're going to get.
Have you ever found yourself being worried about me?
Yes.
Mm.
And I think it was just sitting there in a series of podcasts because it was Robin letting herself go, letting her be vulnerable, and it was something I had never seen before. And it was when I saw it, I wanted to grab you. I wanted to hug you through a screen. And I'm like, it blew my mind, to be honest.
This is deep. This is deep. We're going to turn this back on me a little bit. We are learning about her, but unfortunately, my mapping has required that she can ask me questions. So what are 3 questions that you've always wanted to ask that you haven't asked yet?
One that pops into my head is if I had never become a fizzer, because I didn't happen upon it until many months after we chatted over comments, do you think we would be where we are now in our friendship?
Ooh, that's a good question. And I'm said I would be honest in my own paper. And honestly, probably not. And not because of the business relationship, but because you becoming a fizzer gave me an opportunity to get to know you through the screen. Like, yes, you came into my lives and we got to know each other while she was there, but part of the business is like people coming in your life and you do connect to them and you follow up with them, and I would send her messages or whatever. But it's different to get to see you work in your environment. And that really stood out to me because I would watch her and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love her. When she first started, she was really slow. Like if you order something from her, it was like 20 minutes before you got to see your reveal. And I would be like, oh my God, I really do like this girl because this is driving me crazy. She's gotten better though. She's gotten better. Okay, that was one question. What else?
I guess it would be like, what made you want to do your podcast compared to like, I know on lives, you're still pretty open on lives, but what changed your mind from going from a live to like a full-on podcast with your story?
Ooh, that's a good question. Here's the reason, which is maybe a question for everybody, honestly. I had been thinking about doing a podcast for years, really heavily for about a year. And this is going to lead into kind of a testimony story and a lot more to unfold with that. About a year ago, I had really thought about it a lot. So many people had been telling me, you need to go to therapy. You need to go to therapy. You need to go to therapy. I was carrying grief and I was carrying heartache and I was carrying a whole bunch of stuff nobody saw. I would go into my lives and be a version of me. And I would be open and I'd cry sometimes, but nobody really knew the reality of how I spent an hour trying to peel myself off of the couch to even hit that button and then show up and pretend like I'm fine because I don't want anybody to know that I'm like struggling. And so my really close friends kept saying go to therapy. I tried it. I did. I went to therapy for a couple sessions, and all the person kept telling me were all the things I already knew. Oh, write it down. Talk it out. I've already done those things. I went to school for it. And I sat down one day and I told my sister about it, and I had actually prayed about it, and I'm like, you know, God, a lot of things have changed. I lost the church I was going to, the ministry I was in, the music I was doing, and I feel like I've lost my platform. And if nothing else happens, I want to be able to help others and minister to them. And if I can't take the ashes that all of my grief created and put it out to show someone you're not alone, you can rebuild, and I'm sitting here trying to do it too, then what good was it? So I was like, well, that's a lot. You need equipment, you need a room. I'm already going live. That's weird. And so I met this friend, another friend, not her. And he had an office space. And so he was showing me his office space, and we were just taking a random tour. And I literally 2 days before that told my sister, I'm like, man, I keep feeling like a podcast is where I want to go, even though that's very vulnerable. And she's like, well, you should just do it. And so I go tour Damien's office. Oh, I name dropped. Anyways, friend of mine, I toured his office. And he took me to the 3rd floor by accident. Elevator stopped there by accident. We get off, we walk down the hallway, and right to the right is a room that says podcast room. And I was like, there's a podcast room here? And he goes, I guess, you know, a typical dude. And so I look in the window and I'm like, oh my gosh. It has a couch, it has lights, it has equipment. And I was like, how does somebody use this? Oh, you can just use it for free. And I literally stopped in the hallway and turned around and looked at my sister like, is this really happening right now? And she goes, I told you to just do it. so I decided then everything had lined up. What was my excuse? You know, like, if nothing else, if I don't touch a single person, if I don't resonate or connect with a single person, I'm finally going to tell my story of what it was like to walk through all of those years and to find myself literally leading up to this episode, introducing somebody new, because this is part of rebuilding beautifully. This was part of, I spent, everything crashed and burned, and then I spent 6 months prior to meeting this person just trying to make a business to fill the void. I couldn't handle the silence in my head. And I'd go live and present and perform for people and perform for people and perform for people. And then somebody walks in or comes into a live and buys a piece of jewelry, tells you you're beautiful, tells you you're funny, and has no idea that you spent an hour crying before they showed up. And so, yeah, that's why I decided to do this podcast, because there's more than me that's out here with those same mental struggles, emotional struggles, and you're not alone. You're not alone. And everybody can get through those ashes. So that is why I decided to go for it and do a podcast. Thanks for that very long question. Oh.
That wasn't in there. Cry.
All right. So that was me. I took a lot of time just answering that. So we're going to move past her 3rd question, if she even had one, into what they call lightning round, which is in our segment 5 here. Trying to wrap this up because I do have like a nice closing for everybody. At this point, what do you feel like you had completely wrong about me?
I don't know if I should say it.
Say it.
This pastor's daughter vision. But it was, I would say, my whole view on religion in general. Growing up as a Catholic and seeing this one sort of view, like a strict Catholicism sort of view. And that's how I thought a pastor's daughter should be or act, but I knew that from the beginning, that I saw punk bling and then heard that you were from the church, and I was like,
that's weird.
I was like, okay. But I think that made me love you even more, because I'm like, she defies like all rules. And I'm like, I like a rule breaker.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, one thing I had completely wrong is she was, okay, when we were first building our friendship, she was so sweet about everything. Like, if I tried to talk about something, oh, well, they're just probably going through a hard time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this girl and I are never going to make it, because I am so brutally honest sometimes. You know, sometimes, right?
But I feel like that's where we compliment each other so much. She will say what I'm thinking.
Right.
Like, but I won't say it, because that's where she thinks I'm totally sweet.
Yeah.
I have the thoughts, but they don't match my mouth.
She is the sweetest person still. It wasn't a completely wrong thought, but she's more human than I expected. So I appreciate that. Okay, these are just like random questions that we were thinking about doing a TikTok like. So, out of the two of us, who do you think would stay up later?
Robin.
Heck yeah.
But I think that's just because I'm a mother.
Homegirl fell asleep while I was talking. Okay, like a couple nights ago. Who's more likely to impulse buy?
Me.
Oh, that's a hard one because I have a problem too. That's why we're bomb party fishers.
I feel like it depends on what the thing is. Like surprise jewelry, probably Alyssa.
Yeah, she
But
does go in
anything else,
harder for that.
probably Robin.
Clothes, definitely me. What surprised you most about meeting me in person? I think we kind of talked about that.
Yeah,
because our first dinner,
the same thing. Like
really blew our minds.
Not really. Not really the conversation I thought we were gonna have for our anniversary, but all right.
What's one word you would use to describe me today since we've spent this weekend together?
No.
Are you filtering? Because you're supposed to be honest.
Like, the first word that popped into my head was honest.
Okay.
But I feel like I could have said that before this weekend, too.
Oh, okay.
Just from watching the podcast. Like, open and honest.
A year ago, you were just a tiny square on my phone. And now here we are today. Thursday of the week that we're filming this, which y'all are going to see this like 2 weeks from now, but we are at Fistopia, which is our company convention. So that's how we got to meet. And it just so happens that we got to meet each other in person on our exact 1 year of knowing each other, which is so wild. And if you're on my side of the fence, you know everything is ordained. So I do think that it was meant to be. And it's one of those funny things that if you told anybody else, I'm going to go meet a friend that I've only watched on my phone on lives for a year, and not consistently. I mean, like, because we're not consistent going live all the time. So it's like we see each other on screen once or twice a week if we're doing good mentally and emotionally. Most people will be like, that's going to be weird. But it wasn't. It wasn't for me anyways.
No, it felt like I had known her a whole year.
Yes.
Completely natural.
Honestly, I was here in my molly grubs wanting to go home, and everyone was like, no, just wait, because she was late. She's late. She's a little late for everything. Something I learned about her.
Set the precedence for the whole
But she was a little late, and then when she showed up, it was literally like, oh, okay. And then I just snapped into like, I'm ready to have a good time. And so I feel very blessed to know you and to have you in my life. And I feel very blessed even spending this time with her. The more I've gotten to know her, the more I'm so grateful for her. And it is the turning point of my life. Yes, this is live while we're filming this right now. We're still in the moment. I'm still in the rebuilding beautifully phase. But this person was a part of a journey of me rediscovering myself. She didn't know my past. She didn't know what I was before. She didn't know me as the drummer at Calvary Temple. She didn't know me as a youth leader. She met me on a live and said, there's just something different. And here we are. Start recording our hug. Meeting Alyssa reminded me that sometimes God introduces people into our lives in unexpected ways. Before I could recognize the gift that was, there's another chapter that I'd like to tell you about. And that is part of Robin 1.5, working to Robin 2.0. And we're going to take a step back. I know we're trying to move forward. We're taking a step back in a couple episodes and talking about part of that same journey of trying to find a new home. We talked about losing the place that felt like home, which was my church and my identity. And I didn't quit. I didn't take all of that hurt and all of that destruction and that last ember on the fire as an opportunity to walk away from what I know is better. And so, episode 11, let's talk about discovering a new home. And have I found one yet? I guess you'll have to wait and see.